Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy Nitsa coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today on the channel. I wanted to talk about the legend himself, the dynamic duo, Kendrick Lamar and Mixed by Ali. So let's jump into this right away. Let's not waste no time. If y'all do have any more, suggestions for any different type of artists y'all want to see, go ahead and drop it down below. So I feel like Kendrick Lamar is one of the greatest West Coast rappers of all time. Literally, I mean, the amount of work this dude has put in, he's so prolific, so many great flows, great lyrics, great moments with his music, so much great storytelling as well, which I feel like is a little bit lost with rap nowadays, but I still do like where rap nowadays is going anyways. Kendrick Lamar, he's one of those amazing dudes, and I wanted to talk about, these guys, they were kind of like best friends. This is a picture from all the way back when, so these dudes was being tapped in with each other, and that's what making music is all about. It's about the connection with the mixing engineer, with the person as well. It just so happens that these dudes are making music. If they were like, let's say if they was both pro athletes, if they was both football players, they'll be like, oh my god, those two players, they play so great together. And that's the thing about music. Making music is all about the relationship between the people. It's all about life. Life is about people, and music is about life. So that's why I'm always trying to say that these like albums and these songs are just a reflection of how the people who are working on them feel about each other. They really all love music. Their heart is inside the music, and they're like brothers. You feel me? They're like family. They all see each other like family. So that's why the music sounds so great. It's the energy, the genuine energy that everybody's putting into the music, and that's more important to me than any skill or anything that because at the end of the day, a guy like Mixed by Ali, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who know how to mix, but even Dr. Dre was a guy who mentored Mixed by Ali. Out of all of the engineers Dr. Dre probably ever seen, he's seen something different in somebody like Mixed by Ali, maybe because he loves the game so much more. He heard something in his mixes that really just drew him to say, all right, you're gonna be my prodigy, my apprentice, and I'm gonna help you out. So that's very cool to know. And even Kendrick Lamar, he's another prodigy too. These guys were young dudes, but then people say, yo, one day these guys could really become legends in the game before they ever made all the work that they had put in. So that's something important to know as well. Like, when you love the game, when you love music, there's going to be people who are going to try to help you as well, but your love for making music has to be genuine. All right, cool. Let's make a vocal chain for Kendrick Lamar, and it's going to be for free, and you guys can get the preset down below, the link. I'm going to drop it. So yeah, for somebody like Kendrick Lamar, I would use something like a U47, and this video is a little bit different. Some people like to copy the vocal chain exactly, but I'm not like that. I like to use my ear imagination, which is I'm always trying to promote to you guys with my videos. I'm trying to have you harvest your creativity. I want you to be creative. I don't want to just give you the information like, oh, here's the manual, here's the textbook, there you go. Like, I want you guys to still be creative. I want you to like get into your creative energy. I feel like I know that's what my videos do, and that that's what I'm just trying to go for. So I would use something like the U47 on Kendrick's voice. I'm actually speaking into a warm audio FET 47 Junior, and originally when I was looking for a microphone, because when I rap, I have a deeper voice, I was like, damn, I'm not really seeing no reviews about, people who have deeper voices talking into a microphone that, that really convinced me. So I just started to look at it like, yo, my instrument is like, my voice is an instrument. So what's another instrument that kind of is like low and deep and, has a little bit of transient, like with the way I rap. I used my ear imagination. I was like, what, a kick or a bass would kind of be like something, instrument similar to my voice when I rap. So I was like, okay, let's look at some microphones that are good for that. And then I came to the warm audio FET 47. This is the Neumann U47, but this microphone is very good. It's like a large diaphragm condenser microphone, and a large diaphragm to me is kind of like a large lens, a large format lens when it comes to a camera. I see a microphone kind of like how it's like a camera, where it's just the microphone is taking a picture of the artist, and something like a large diaphragm helps capture a lot more of the energy, a lot more of the constants, the air, from Kendrick Lamar's voice. I think that's kind of important for him because he's getting real raw and gritty in his music, and you want to hear the because it makes it sound like he's really on the real, in real life, talking about his problems, like he's on the corner, so I think that the U47 is a great microphone for somebody like Kendrick Lamar. And also with the U47, it's really good for like bass heavy stuff, like kick, that like a kick has a quick transient to it, so a U47 is great because it can handle those bursts of energy very well, a lot of that quote unquote transient energy. So I'm understanding the flow of the rapper, and I'm making a decision like that. And I know that the U47 has a little boost at like 2K as well. You got to understand the frequency response, and that kind of gives a little bit of presence, and I think that's very important for somebody like Kendrick Lamar's voice. He doesn't have a deep voice, but I do want something that can handle handle, you know, some of that up close energy. Because when you come up closer to a microphone, there's more of that low end, low mid, all of that stuff. So even though he don't got a deep voice, I'm understanding that the way Kendrick Lamar likes to work a microphone is to really come up in your face, you know, personal, you know, relatable conversation type of distance, you know. And the next thing after that, we would be looking at somebody like MixedByAli. You know, MixedByAli, he's amazing. You know, Dr. Dre, you know, showed him the ropes, and yeah, you know, he took it and ran with it. And he's kind of like, I would say he's kind of like, you know, one of the most important engineers of our time right now, just because of the records that he made and what it meant to people's life. You know, he produced a lot of these records that was soundtrack to people's life. I remember on the bus, you know, when I was in school, you know, I think in high school and even middle school, when I was on the bus, you know, they was playing that Kendrick Lamar, Pyrus and Crips, all got along. Like they was playing that on the radio. So that is like, you know, the music is a part of people's life. So that's why I make music personally. Some people make music for money. Some people make music for fame or whatever, or girls or whatever they do it. But me personally, I make music because it's my legacy and because, you know, I wanted to be the soundtrack of people's life. Because I remember there was some songs that was there for me when maybe some people wasn't there for me, you feel me? And you know, a guy like MixedByAli, bro, you know, as soon as you hear his mixes, you can hear how much he loves making music. So, you know, in his side of his studio, I think he has an Avalon preamp, and that's what I would use on Kendrick Lamar's voice. Let me see if my console thing will let me do it. So yeah. So when it comes to the microphone I would use on Kendrick's voice, I would use the you know, U47 from Townsend. You know, they have a great emulation. And after that, I would use the Avalon 737. And you know, I love this because it has a tubes. It's a tube preamp and compressor type of combination. So it does have a compression unit inside of it. I probably wouldn't use it, but I would use the tube preamp inside of it. And the thing about tubes is they have a very smoothing characteristic. So you know, even though Kendrick Lamar is coming up to the microphone, I don't want his vocals to sound a little bit harsh. So that's the thing about it. Knowing the components inside of the preamp, I'm saying, all right, cool. A tube preamp is going to be perfect for his voice because I already know that the tube is going to provide a warming characteristic. You know, it has triode tubes in it, and triode tubes add even order harmonics, which is kind of like, it's like just kind of like shaping the frosting off of the cake. You know, it's just really taking the edge off of his vocal, and you know, it's going to provide some of that you know, really nice tone that Kendrick Lamar has. He has a great tone, and I feel like the creaminess of the Avalon 737 could really complement it. All right, cool. So then after the preamp, you know, the compressor that I would be using, if you can kind of see it right here, is a LA3A. You know, and the reason why I would be using a LA3A, I think you can also see it in this picture right here. Yeah. So this is what an 1176 is like. You see those two knobs, right? And this is the LA3A, just in case somebody tries to say, oh, this is 1176, Nick. Yeah, you see that little knob, and then the LED, that's a LA3A. All right, so the main reason why I would pick a LA3A over a 2A is because the LA3A is very responsive. You know, it's more responsive than a LA2A. And the reason that's the case is because with the LA2A, they both have an optical component. All right, so LA3A, LA2A, they both using light to do the compression, okay, babe? But then the LA2A is using the tubes to drive the megaphone, which is the amplification, to make that bit louder on the input and the output. The thing about the LA3A is the LA3A use solid state components to do the amplification type of situation. You know, they're both very warm sounding in my opinion. The LA2A is a little bit, you know, slower in my opinion, just because of the way it handles like the big transients, you know, and that's why I would pick the LA3A over the 2A, just because the LA3A will keep up with Kendrick Lamar's flow. So even me, I have a real LA3A in real life, and that's why I picked the LA3A over the 2A, because I know sometimes I like to get into my bag when I'm rapping. I like to rap fast. I kind of like to do some of those crazy flows like Kendrick Lamar. So that's something that you always got to think about when you're buying equipment. What is your flow? What type of voice do you have? Don't waste money on trying to buy the same equipment that worked for somebody else. Maybe if they do kind of have the same type of voice as you, or you're going for that same type of style, yeah, go ahead and do that. But I'm just saying, don't try to buy a shoe that doesn't fit you. Kind of like the whole processing chain we would have after the LA3A, because the LA3A is a lot more responsive, and that's just why I would pick it. Understanding my flow, my strengths and weaknesses, and also always understanding the artist's strengths and weaknesses. All right, cool. Then after that, you know, we're just gonna wrap this up. I always paid attention to, you know, Mixed by Ali, you know, this genius himself, kind of like Dr. Dre. He was always in the studio with an SSL console, and the SSL console is just so perfect for rapping just because of the way it just makes everything punch and hit hard with that voltage controlled amplifier type of, you know, situation. A little bit of that compression is always perfect for like stuff like kicks, you know, and all of those snares. And, you know, rap has a lot of transient energy, kind of like a lot of like a direct, abrupt transient energy. That's what makes it hit hard. Rap music is known for hitting very hard, so that's why I would pick an SSL, you know, E channel strip as my selection for somebody like Kendrick Lamar, you know. And then I would use the AMS RMX 16. You know, Dr. Dre, he used to love this thing. You know, it was just so warm and so rich and incredible reverb. I probably will do a more in-depth video about this. And yeah, this reverb is just great. It would really help Kendrick Lamar get a little bit of that soul inside of his music. You know, he likes to use samples as well, so that's the thing about it too. Sometimes you don't want to have a you know, situation where you have samples for the beat, and then the artist, his voice just sounds too accurate and digital. You want it to blend as well tonally. So that's why I will use something like the AMS reverb, because it's going to give that analog vibe. It's going to give that analog vibe that is also going to help the track just blend in there. You know what I mean? So like an analog, sometimes if you got a beat that has vinyl noise and crackle, you know, and it's giving an analog vibe, well, sometimes you got to make your vocal using, you know, analog plugins, because it's like, you know, making Legos fit together. You got to make it match and match, you know, match together, you know. You got to make them all talk the same language. If you got somebody who's Spanish and somebody who's Portuguese, well, shoot, I mean, they might kind of understand each other, but you got to figure out some way to get like a translator in there so they can be all talking on the same language. That's how I feel about music, you know. It's kind of like language, you know. I want the music to all speak the same language so it sounds cohesive. And then after that, you know, another SSL, but we will be using the AMS DMX as well. And I love this one too because it's like a doubler. You know, that's how Kendrick, you know, he does go in there and do all his doubles. I'm pretty sure that he stacks and stacks his vocals, but sometimes using something like the AMS DMX is even better because it can help make the background vocals sound even wider and get even more dimension. So it's kind of like just putting some you know, tomato sauce on the dish, and it's really just very good because I just love the way it kind of has like a really nice type of a rich type of sound to it. That's the only way I could explain it. And with that doubler, it just really helps create more space for the lead vocal, because now the background vocals are, you know, this does like a pitch delay shift type of thing, so it's like even widening it. You know, it's like taking a rubber band and stretching it out even further. Even though a rubber band is already kind of stretched, of course it's rubber, you could stretch it out even wider, and that's what something like this would do. All right, so I just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All right, now, peace.